Good morning, everybody. My name is Christopher Vanberg, for those that don't know me, and excited to speak with you this morning. I hope everybody had a Merry Christmas. I think I definitely did, and I hope everybody enjoys their time with their family. Right? That's one of the greatest things. It's the greatest gift that I think everybody gets at Christmas is spending time with their family. What's funny is I see so many posts on Facebook, and I guess I expected, but weight gain, right? Like, how many people are constantly, gaining weight over the course of the holidays, and um, and I think some people have learned a system to keep themselves from doing it, and today is to kind of teach you part of that system. I basically, I've done this webinar a couple of times over the last couple of weeks, but today's real focus is the daily habits. And the reason why I want to spend time on daily habits is we're going to focus on the same 4 pillars of health that I normally focus on. But the daily habits are simply the thing that separates us. It's the difference between standard and legendary, right? Because it's the things you do on a daily basis that set the course and the outcome of what a future looks like. And the holidays are not a problem if your daily habits stay consistent. You're not afraid of eating a couple of desserts on Thanksgiving Day or Christmas Day when everything else you're doing during the course of the week stays on par. I made a joke with my family that I needed an insulin shot after Christmas dinner because I had 4 different slices of cakes and pies. But I had no guilt associated to that. I just had a sugar crash. But I had no guilt because everything else I do during the course of the week stays on track. And the things that I do, I'm normally healthy in my own version of that during the course of the week because that's my lifestyle. That's my choice. That's what I'm choosing to do, and choosing the way to live the way I live my life. So we're going to get into this morning and share a little wisdom. Let me pull up my PowerPoint real quick. So I always started off with this because my first objective with everybody is for them to take their health into their own control. And the reason why I want you to take your health into your own control is because if you put it into the control of others, you're never going to get as great a return, right? And the reason why you never get as great a return is nobody cares about your individual health near as much as you should. So you should be the focus of your health, right? And you should take it into your own control. And the people that do not are the people that are victim to what I would call iatrogenesis. Iatrogenesis is the types of deaths, which are the 3rd leading cause of death in America. And it's preventable medical errors. So it's you putting control of your health into hospitals and doctors and them letting you down and you dying from a preventable medical error. Now, that's not to say there's not amazing surgeries and life-saving procedures and amazing medicines that help save lives. But if this is your single resort, if you are so reactive to your health that you don't take care of yourself and you put yourself in the hands of others, once again, nobody cares about your health as much as you do, and mistakes are made. And for preventable mistakes to be the 3rd leading cause of death in America, it means not enough people care about their own health to take control of their own health. So by the end of this just little webinar, I promise you'll probably know more than 90% of the population on health and wellness, because it's not a focus, and there's so much false information in there for people trying to sell products or do whatever. Everybody's trying to sell you something in this world, and all I really want to tell you is the education to take your health under your own control. If you don't know, Brian Johnson is my partner. He's unable to join this morning. He is on his way to a wonderful relationship training course for the next 4 or 5 days. So we'll have him back before our little webinar that starts in January. If for those of you that don't know us, right, Brian and I have been partnered together for really almost the last decade. Brian used to be the personal training manager at 24 Hour Fitness when I met him, when I decided to take my health under my own control about 12 years ago. Taught me everything that I knew about training and physical exercise and fitness nutrition. Then the next couple of years, all we studied was what we call disease reversal nutrition, or really just helping people with medication dependence, people helping with chronic illness, things that just teach you the grocery store practicality of foods that do the same thing that medications do. Then we really got into body language and counseling and conscious language because well, we learned a very simple thing that, physical exercise, any trainer will tell you that your food is dependent upon how you look. But then any people that we, started helping with food, people were still failing anyway. Even though they had the tools around exercise and food, they were still failing anyway because their mind and their spirit were not in the right place. So we are a little trinity in our own body, mind, body, and spirit. And, you have to have them all in line to be successful. So we've for the last 4 or 5 years, we've been studying almost nothing but counseling and language so that we can help people where they are and meet them to help them to be successful in their goals. Brian and I, we've probably spent $100,000 in coaches over the last year alone. We use coaches for everything. So, this is at James Malinchak, who's a business coach. We love to do this because we love to learn. And so we love to share this knowledge with others. So do me a favor, turn off your cell phone, close your Facebook, go where it's quiet, have some water, get a pen and paper, and just be open, because if you just have an open mind to different possibilities, right, things can change. And so once again, we want you to take your health under your own control and just think about the possibility of change. Because if those preventable medical errors went away, that would be dramatic change in the state of our union. So what we're going to go over today is just the current state. So daily habits, and I'm going to talk about daily habits across all these things, right? So air, water, portion control, increasing metabolic rate, macros, right? Mindful of your activity, staying on track, all the daily habits. First, current state. Latest numbers from CDC are generally a couple years old, so that's why it's older data, but still, heart disease and cancer, number 1 and number 2, 600,000 deaths a year apiece. Pretty scary numbers, right? And if you really study these things, they're also linked to preventable, right? So there's so many different living habits that will decrease your chance of heart disease, decrease your chance of cancer, decrease your chance of chronic lower respiratory diseases or stroke. And I'll talk about that on all of them, right? Other statistics, 350,000 deaths per year linked to overweight and obesity. And here's the iatrogenic deaths, right? 220 to 448 deaths for preventable medical errors. Iatrogenic deaths, if you want to Google it, learn about it, it's incredible, and it's also sad. 40% of the annual deaths from the 5 leading causes are preventable. More from that if you count preventable living habits, right? So if you change your style, your odds of dying from heart disease and cancer and chronic lower respiratory disease dramatically go down. So daily habits. Could one small habit change and transform your life? One small change compounded by days, weeks, months is life-changing. It's what they call slight edge thinking. It's a small daily habit that separates us from being victims to victors. Let me give you some examples, right? Let's just say that you decide that you're going to take your health under control. One little habit, good habit formed over the course of the day. Let's say it's reading, which is outside your health, but just a self-improvement habit. If you just improve by reading 5 pages in a book every day, right? Like maybe it's in your bathroom, right? And you've dedicated 5 pages of a book every day. Well, over the course of the year, now you've finished a couple of books. Over the course of 5 years, you could have mastered a subject of your choosing just by reading 5 pages a day. And so now, and that's probably 25 more books than the average person reads over the course of 5 years. And you could master almost any subject in 25 books. So my point is just a small daily habit that takes nothing but a few minutes can separate you from the pack in dramatic ways, because most people don't focus on these little habitual great habits, right? So these are our 5 pillars of health. And let me help you identify what I did, right? So air, water, food, sleep, and consciousness. And the reason why these are the pillars is because we understood that what is the most important thing for you to live, to thrive, to be alive, at any regular basis. And this is when I really discovered this, or when Brian and I really discovered this. It was when we understood the importance of water. And I used to go into this conversation, about how water is actually more important than the food that you eat. Because, you can survive on almost any types of food, right? But you really actually can't survive without water. There's so many things that are edible, and some choices are better than yours. Some improve your health, some degrade your health. But either way, you could survive, generally speaking, on almost all types of food. But you can't survive without water. So water is far more important to your health and your thriving than your food is. Well, then when you get into that conversation, look, you can go weeks without food. You can only go a few days without water, but you can only go a minute if you're lucky without air, right? And most people only breathe enough, to stay conscious. Now, their body forces them to breathe more when they're working harder, but I want you to think about all the wonderful things that air is connected to. Let's say, one time I broke my arm, right? And I was nothing but a teenage kid, and they had to re-break it. There's no pain medication they said they could give. There's nothing that can really help you with that pain. But the single greatest thing that they can tell you to do is breathe. Breathing through your pain. I mean, that's almost the singular practice of what yoga is. Most people think yoga is about stretching or flexibility, but it's not. I believe the single practice is actually just the constant breath of air through pain. And when you're crying, what do they tell you to do? Breathe. When you first get sick and they put you in the hospital, they put you on IV, more water, yeah, but then they tell you to breathe. It's breath of life is the single greatest focus for your health. Oxygen is the single greatest healer. It's the differentiator really between an alkaline body and an acidic body. So breathe more. So my daily habit for you in this little focus is take 5 to 10 minutes. I encourage meditation and taking that time, but just the breathing, right? Just taking that focus. There's this book that I really recommend all the time called by Hal called The Miracle Morning. And it's like setting just little 10-minute increments to do a couple amazing things for your body in the morning, and how life-changing that could be. And so the conscious effort of taking in more air. 95% of Americans have a symptom that they called clumped red blood cells, okay? And what does that mean? That really just means that your red blood cells are sticking together instead of freely flowing like they should. Now, if they were well hydrated or well oxygenated, they don't stick together. But that means 95% of America is walking around all the time with slightly dehydrated and not enough oxygen in their system. And so those are the two main sources of your energy. And so now it makes sense why so many Americans have this chronic stimulant addiction. They constantly want more caffeine. They constantly need energy drinks. Because they're running around exhausted, but they're running around exhausted and they're not doing the right things to change it. And so literally you can check somebody's blood that has clumped red blood cells, and then a 45 second breathing exercise, all of a sudden their red blood cells are no longer clumped the next time you draw it. So it's the lack of oxygen. Qigong is ancient culture of breathing and moving through meditation. A lot of recognize like Tai Chi, very similar. These are just all examples of things that you can do to help you with your breath. There's deep breathing exercises you can watch. There's yoga classes I highly encourage. There's so many videos amazing on the deep breathing through the body. There's also things like, foods that you can do. So beets help you oxygenate the blood. If you don't know, the red ingredient in the beet is called betaine. It's so similar to hemoglobin. And so it actually helps you produce fresh new red blood cells. So it's in all these like anti-cancer food protocols or these breathing issues because, it helps you produce new red blood cells and helps you deliver that oxygen more effectively. For Kiwis that you don't know, we had a client, she had chronic asthma, 20 plus years of being on an inhaler, and she couldn't work out for more than a few minutes without having a small attack and unable to breathe through it. Put on a food protocol of 2 to 3 kiwis every single day. Within 3 days, it was dramatically changed. She could work out for 20 minutes. It's been 6 months now since she's even needed her inhaler, and this is something that was chronically ailing her for 25 years. And with this simple addition of one single food, she has had a dramatic change in her breathing. And so there's lots of foods like that for all types of symptoms. So once again, take a conscious effort and a daily habit of taking in deeper breaths. Find it. It's one of the greatest relaxation techniques I have ever seen for just going to sleep. So many people are chronically thinking about what I got to do, or this or that. So I encourage keeping a pen and paper next to your bed. As you think of things you still need to do, write them down so you can rest easy, and then focus on deep breathing until your body relaxes and you fall asleep. The daily habit of water. Listen, I was talking about these causes of death: stroke, heart disease. Do you know that the most common time for heart attacks is between 7 o'clock and 9 o'clock in the morning? Which the body is A, the most dehydrated, and B, about to go into stress because of work environments or whatever. So if you think about that, the simple act of drinking water right before you go to bed and immediately when you first wake up dramatically reduces your chances of having a heart attack. Because water in a fluid system in your fluid circulation tract dramatically reduces your chance of you having any sort of clot. And so chronic dehydration is one of the main reasons people have, heart issues. So think about that. Think about how when you very first wake up, lose what they say you lose from sleeping, which is 20 to 30 ounces is the very first thing you do in the morning. You'll find that your energy is better throughout the course of the day. You'll find that you wake up quicker. You found that you have a less desire for stimulants because you're moving better and you're already functioning better. It's the main way that your body delivers vitamins and minerals, and it detoxifies. It's just our main source of life. We believe that water is directly connected to our desire to feel, okay? And so a lot of people don't have a desire to feel because what they're feeling, they don't want to deal with their emotions. And so you find that these people are often chronically dehydrated. Water is directly linked to our emotional state. And so, think about that. You should always want to feel or desire to feel more. So daily habits around portion. And this is important because some people screw this up, okay? And this is what I mean by that, right? A lot of people wake up and they don't have breakfast. They have a lunch and then they have a huge dinner. They're taking in calories at the exact opposite way that their body burns them. Their body burns more calories, obviously, if you eat more in the beginning of the day. And then sometimes sometimes you eat too much, sometimes we don't eat enough. So there's people that are doing both. And let me explain why eating, if you're trying to lose weight, but you're not eating enough of the right foods, is simply that your muscle tissue is the main source of your metabolism. So most of the calories you burn is because of the muscle tissue you have. So if you're not eating enough, the weight that you're losing could be your muscle tissue, which means you're diminishing your metabolism every day you don't eat enough food, which drops the amount of calories that you eat. So where you used to, you would have previously lost weight still eating 1,500 calories a day, now you could possibly gain weight eating 1,500 calories a day because you weren't eating enough to begin with. It's about feeding your body what it requires and in the right quantities. Another mistake is in the times of day, or how many times a day. Eating a whole lot in one single meal versus eating small meals over the course of the day. Now, I know some people that even eat too often, which means they just constantly snack through the course of the day, which keeps their glucose high in their blood, but keeps them from burning fat off their body, which is their goal. So there needs to be spaces between your meals. You need your body a body of time of hunger and a time of satiation. And you need to not let it be too long a period of time so that your body always recognizes that it has a constant supply of food. Also, breakdown of macros, I'll spend some more on that. The daily habit of that is that basically it's not a meal unless it's protein, right? It doesn't have to be animal protein, but there does need to be protein because it's your stable energy supply. A meal that's completely composed of fats or completely composed of carbs is like just putting jet fuel in your engine for a little while. It doesn't help for long-term energy source. And there's the right kind of foods. So endocrine versus goitrogen. So there's lots of foods that are endocrine. This is a thyroid boosting food, something that really helps energize your system. The things that I like to think about are like maca root is endocrine boosting, or ginseng extract, right? There's things in here that really help speed up your metabolism. Then there's goitogen foods. Now, goitogen foods are like the cruciferous vegetables or soy or some beans. So these things slow down your metabolism. Now, you would ask, generally speaking, why would I want a goitogen ever, right? Why would I want to slow down my metabolism? Well, the reason why they're in nature is a very simple reason, right? God has intelligence and design. And before we had ample supply of food, a goitogen food that would slow down our metabolism would help us survive off less food. And when we didn't have food at our fingertips constantly, goitogenic foods could save our lives. Now that we do, and many of us lack the willpower to constantly stop from eating, most of us require or desire a fast metabolism so we can burn through the food that we're eating and have a high energy supply. I've been eating this way for so long now, my metabolism is sometimes ridiculously fast. If I had to hunt for all my own food, though, I probably would not survive because I have made my metabolism so fast. There's good and there's bad with both, right? And eating the percentage for your macros for your specific body type. I tell this story just I think last night. Brian and I did a fitness show 5 or 6 years ago, and Brian's a little shorter than I am, weighs probably about 30 pounds more than I. But we literally ate the exact same amount of food for 6 months, and even though I weighed significantly less, because I have sort of that endomorphic, the smaller body type that has trouble putting on weight, that's what I was required. I had to eat as many calories as he did. And so just because we have a slightly different body type, you need to know what your body type are, because it has a big influence on exactly the amount of food that you require to look the desired way that you desire to look. Proteins, it's funny, some people don't even know the simple breakdown of what your macros are. Now, macros are fitness nutrition. And what I mean by fitness nutrition is it's how we manipulate body fat. It's how you portion out your meals. It's how, this is like, let's just say this beautiful little drawing by a child was your plate. That's kind of how it should be broken down. Maybe 35% of each, right? 33% of each. It doesn't have to be animal proteins, also vegetable proteins, but you have to understand that they're all different for different functions of the body. Carbohydrates are where we get most of our glucose, fats are where we get a lot of the nutrients and the anti-inflammatories, proteins are where we get a lot of the base aminos. So it's an understanding of what your body needs from a functioning standpoint. You notice grains are not anywhere in here, right? Because grains aren't actually necessary for your body's health. Now, I know this isn't the same as a food plate of the USDA, but that's created to help you support American agriculture, not so much what your dietary needs are, right? If you're talking about fiber, you get most of those from your vegetables and your carbohydrates, right? And so it's understanding what macros fit into your nutrition plan. And to be mindful of activity, right? Even in the course of the holidays, daily activity is just a must. So we encourage fitness trackers. How much did you move in the course of the day? Just knowing how many steps you take could be the difference between being successful or not. Because a lot of people think they move a lot because they're tired at the end of the day, but a lot of times it was just mental exhaustion, but not physical exhaustion. A lot of people have trouble sleeping at night because they didn't burn off enough physical energy. Sometimes it saddens me to see people waiting for a parking spot up close next to a grocery store, right? When the next closest spot is maybe 25 yards away, and they could use a little bit extra walking, right? Like, we have become so impatient and so customized to the conveniences of life that some people drive their trash down to the end of the street versus walk it. Right? We can do this extra activity because that little bit of extra activity every single day. Think about this. Let's just say when you walked an extra 1,000 feet a day, just an extra 1,000 feet a day. Over the course of the week, you walked an extra mile. That's another 60 miles. That's 60 miles you walked a year, right? And 60 miles is it doesn't matter the course of the year, that probably made an impact in your weight, don't you think? So even just a little bit extra steps of every single day adds up to a lot. It's all about the daily habits. And if you're tracking your daily activity on how much you actually do, it makes a huge, huge difference. So Fitbit, Basis, there's all these step counters. Some of them are very cheap. You don't have to spend a lot of money to get an activity tracker, and they can do phenomenal things to be mindful of what your daily habits are. So staying on track. I think I already kind of told you guys, Brian and I have spent an absorbent amount of money on coaches, but it was valuable money. And that's just this year alone. Over the last 5 years, we've spent so much more because coaches can teach you something, right? Yeah, I got to get my taxes done every single year. And, I could go to my doctor to get my taxes done. I could try to do it myself. There's lots of software to be able to help me, right? But I trust the expert knowledge of my CPA. Because my CPA does it. That's what he does. He does it for a profession. And you know what? If I want to get the best results and I want to be able to have confidence in that, I'm going to go to my CPA to be able to do that. I'm paying for that expertise because it's worth it to me. And I do that in every aspect of my life. So for my business, I have my own health coaches that we trust, language and counseling coaches, because I trust their knowledge because that's what they do. So get a coach. There's so much value in a coach that can really help you walk you through, has made all the mistakes before, or had gone through the mistakes that you're making with their clients and help them through that experience and wisdom and accountability and a track record of success. Listen, so much time and so much money can be saved. So you don't think about what your investment is. You think about how much you're possibly saving over the course of the time and knowledge that you're learning from somebody that is helping you on this, right? So get a coach. Look, I invite you right now. We're going to do a 6-week seminar in January, starting Monday, January 5th. We'll call it Think Great Nutrition. It's 6 weeks. It's going to be everything you could possibly want to know about nutrition and how to create a perfect diet for you. Because remember, there is no perfect diet, but there is a perfect diet for you. And it's all about knowledge. If you can understand and you can experiment with your own body and you can trust and you can have faith in the knowledge of the types of foods that you're putting in your body and why you're doing it versus just doing fad diets, you will have exponentially better results and you'll have them for a lifetime, right? So Brian and I have studied hundreds of different dietary theories. We sort of give you the best and the worst, and we sort of explain why, right? So why there's a raw food eating diet and a Mediterranean diet or a blood type eating diet. Why are they good? What's bad about them? And the knowledge behind them. Metabolic eating, how to increase or decrease your metabolism based off your foods. People tell me all this time it's a genetic lie that, oh yeah, well, my whole family sort of deals with weight issues. We all have genetically bad metabolism. No, you've learned your eating habits from and your foods from, and therefore your metabolism adapted to what you did do it. And so metabolic is trained in the body, and within a few short days and in a minimum of a few weeks, your metabolism can dramatically change. Macros versus micronutrients. I should say phytonutrients here, but protein, carbs, and fats, that's your fitness nutrition, but then phytonutrients, the little tiny ingredients like the betaine in the beet or the beta systrol in avocado, right? These phytonutrients that are so key to our health, the things that allow our immune system to function and our bodies to function in proper aspect. There's so many enzymes and stuff that are lost from cooked food. So we want to teach you all these nutrients that are in your foods that you're most likely not aware of. Symptom reversal foods, right? The foods that do the same things that medications. A lot of people don't know this, but 50% of the medications you buy are some phytonutrient that we've isolated in a food and created a chemical compound off of. But yet, there's hundreds of phytonutrients in just like a single strawberry. And a lot of them, we don't even know what they do yet. But why not have it in the way God intended in nature that does the same thing as your medication, right? Blending and juicing, there are benefits to both, but how is it that, what are the benefits of these amazing things? And when you learn about symptom reversal foods and you combine that with the power of blending and juicing, imagine taking in a week's worth of vegetables and fruits in a day, and the foods that you have a specific purpose for your individual health. It's a powerful healing technique. Hormone balancing, I can't tell you how many people have an issue with this. A lot of it comes from their eating, a lot of it comes from their energy, but a lot of this can be changed and focused just through the power of your food. Digestive health, things like IBS or Crohn's or chronic stomach pain, or people that have acid reflux. Listen, digestive health is key to your health. In fact, 80% of your immune system lives there in your digestive flora. And most people have, really unhealthy digestive flora from experience with, bad foods, eating too many processed foods, sugars, being on antibiotics, or doing things that are killing off the digestive flora in a bad way, or having the bad ratio. We teach you how to get good digestive health. And listen, there's so much power just in that single segment. Autoimmune diseases, people that have struggled with autoimmune and have a hyperactive immune system attacking their body. There's so many eating habits that can help you with this, that can change that. Listen, it's very powerful. Blood sugars, diabetes. I mean, I can know how to tell you how many people that are right now that are pre-diabetic, type 2 or type 1. Listen, we have a powerful message for all of you. There's so many people that can reverse their diabetes. Listen, the doctors will not tell you that diabetes is reversible. But it is. Almost all of them. Almost all of them. And it's because you can reverse the damage that you've done, and you can get your body functioning on par again, but you have to take steps now. And why diets don't work. Fad diets, all these types of stuff, basically uneducated dieting. And listen, we're going to spend some time on this because, why is it that you lose 20 pounds, but then you come back and gain 30? It wasn't the diet necessarily that failed, although sometimes it is bad dieting, but it was often your mindset. Where were you? Where were you in your thinking? We teach you about how to make this part of your lifestyle. So when things like the holidays come up like they are now, or when you have birthdays in a row, or you have, a lot of celebrating, how do you stay on your daily habits? How do you make this your lifestyle so that you have no guilt associated to the holidays or to celebration or to eating things that aren't food? Listen, we even spend some time on word choice. And this is the way I want you to think differently about the way you do it. And most people in the fitness world use the word cheat meal. I used to use the word cheat meal, but every time I said this is a cheat meal, what do you think about when you think about cheat? You think about guilt. You think about I'm doing something wrong. You think about, I shouldn't be doing this, but I'm allowed to. I can do what I want. Instead of a reward, I have been working hard. And you know what? On Christmas, when I ate 4 slices of cakes and pie, which I'll even admit was too much because it beat me up, but I called it a reward because I work hard for what I do. And there's no guilt associated to it. I enjoyed it. I loved every bite. And if I called it a cheat, I would have a negative association to it. I would have felt guilt about it, and I would have a different emotional reaction in my body to what I was eating that food. So listen, word choice is big and important. We're going to teach you a little bit about that too. So listen, here's our offer today. This is only good till the end of the day today. It should be on the link that I sent you, so it should be right here below the screen. Normally this course is $497. If you don't do it by tonight, it's going to be $397, but it's going to go up to $497 before the course starts. Right now, for today only, because we found that this webinar is successful, you can sign up for $197. You'll get 6 live webinars. They'll be about an hour in each. They'll have questions and answer at the end. They will all be recorded if you miss any, if you can't make our date and time. You'll get our recipe books. You'll get 2-month access to our closed membership site. You'll get a 30-minute consultation with either Brian or I. You'll get 2 of our Jedi Secret videos. And if today you took really good notes and you think you're confident in it, you can tag me on Facebook and I'll make you a special offer on this too. So this is good for today at $197. Listen, it's about mastering the basics. Okay, it's about it's about working with a coach. Listen, Brian and I have worked with over 13,000 people. We've invested $100,000 once again in coaches this year alone. We know the secrets. We know all the tricks to make somebody successful. We help you, teach you those. It's not like once you sign up with us, we expect you to be a client for life. You might follow us for knowledge, but I don't want you to have a perfect diet for yourself. I want you to learn what works for your body and why. I want you to understand all the diet theories, because health is like any other subject. If you just spend a little time on it, it'll save you a lifetime of pain or suffering. Listen to me, we want you to have joy and peace about it, because it's not about being necessarily fearful. I know I talk about like iatrogenesis or these causes of death. If you live your life a certain way, you have no fear of those. You have no fear of heart disease or cancer or stroke or respiratory. In fact, you might be fearful of your family members. And what I want to turn my friends into and my people that follow us are to health evangelists. I want you to be a beacon of health for your family, because not everybody recognizes this or sees this as a problem. But if they see you as a good example, it's contagious, and they'll start asking you what you're doing and why you're doing it. And because there's so much encouragement in that. So please sign up today. I'd love to help you. We'll continue to do free webinars every once in a while, little tidbits of information, because we love to help people, because it's always been our thing. Because there's no better pleasure we can get out of life than helping other people. It's just always been that way for both Brian and I. And so know that we love you, and we want to help you. And I hope you sign up with us. And if you don't make time for your wellness, you will make time for your illness. I hope you guys have a Merry Christmas, or had a Merry Christmas, and I hope you have a wonderful New Year's. Have a good night.